Welcome everyone, this is Steve Rogel with Transtar in Brighton, Michigan. Today our webinar is on the topic of the Transtar online claim system, which we're introducing today. We're honored to have Marcus Melnar, who has been instrumental in testing this system and has been working on it. I think everyone has seen this system. We kind of showed a prototype of this back in December, did we not, Marcus?
Yeah, so when we did the regional meetings, we kind of went through and showed you guys how the functionality of this works. And you're going to see a lot of similarities, maybe a couple of small differences from the version that you guys saw.
So with that, you're going to, as I recall, we're going to show a short PowerPoint on just some of the highlights of the systems, responsibilities, some of the process. Then we will jump into a demo, and then we'll wrap up with some takeaways, correct?
Yep, that is correct.
Okay, so great. Let's kick this off then, Marcus.
Let's do it. All right, so looking at the shop claims process at kind of a higher level, our objective when it comes to the claims process is to respond and resolve all customer complaints in a timely and professional manner. If a customer has an issue or problem with the TAP product, we want to investigate the problem and determine what happened, why it happened, and how do we reduce the likelihood of this issue happening again. Because that's really the heart of our claims process. We want to find out why this happened, whether it was from an environmental issue, man, method, machine, environment, and prevent this from happening again so that our customers have success with our products in the future.
So Marcus, I know that we've talked about claims with the sales force and with the tech force about 2 years in a row. We've done a lot of work on improving our process. It's an ISO process, so it's pretty rigidly documented, and we have an audit every year on it. The general ISO process and the objectives really haven't changed. Is that correct?
No. Nope, we have just, with this new system, we are just kind of trying to work on the timely portion of this, giving more visibility between the home office and the customer and you guys in the field.
So if we're doing bad things, it's only going to help us do bad things faster, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, so next slide. What's required?
Yeah, so what is required? One, pretty obvious, documenting the complaint. When it comes to documenting the complaint, we want to have as much information as possible, right? There's no such thing as too much information when it comes to a complaint.
And I would say from the claims that I've seen, and you see a lot more than I do, the technical service team and the sales team are doing a pretty good job.
Oh yeah,
most
absolutely.
of the claims, they send in pretty good information, photos,
samples,
yeah.
Paint chips. Yeah, we have definitely come leaps and bounds from when I first started with the company. That's definitely. So once we document the complaint, we want to conduct a thorough investigation of the issue, analyzing the failure, whether it's the user process, environment, everything. Identify the root cause, which can be reasonably identified. What we mean by that is we want to identify the main issue that is causing these effects, right? The loss of adhesion, that's an effect. So we're trying to find out what is the root cause, what is the main issue that is causing the shop to run into any loss of adhesion. We want to identify recommended corrective action plans and remedial steps to correct the problem. Now that could be internally at the shop level, maybe at the jobber level as well. And we want to provide recommended solutions to prevent the problem from reoccurring in the future. Again, the main goal of this is to find the root cause and prevent this problem from happening going forward with the shop.
And I think just looking at the process, the back end, the front end of it is kind of gathering the information, putting the documentation together. The back end is all the analysis and then us getting back with the customer. We've, again, I think, come leaps and bounds from where we were. I mean, now we have a documented report that the territory sales manager can take in, go through the customer. Just your thoughts on that, Marcus.
Oh yeah, from when I started with the company till now, just the information and the professionalism that is being put out to you guys and for you guys to bring to the shop. You guys were giving you guys more tools and more ammo in your arsenal uh, to solve these issues at the shop and to give a really detailed explanation of exactly why it happened.
Great. So moving on. So who's responsible for this? Who's involved with this?
Well, there's a lot.
And I think there's a little bit of change here, right? With the sales management and approvals?
Yes. Yep. So with the responsibilities, there's a lot of moving parts within this process. So we'll start with the TMs. Your responsibility is to investigate the issue, document the claim, submit the documentation, and all of the samples that come along with it. So you guys are kind of our feet on the ground gathering all this information for us. For technical services, our main goal is to find the root cause itself. So we are performing that root cause analysis.
Yeah, which I guess it's not stated, but then, okay, what's the corrective action? What's the recommendation? Which feed off of the root cause?
Exactly. Yep. Sales management, so the RM and the VP of sales, to review and approve the reimbursement, and TAP management to approve the reimbursement as well. Again, for the guys who have sent in claims, we've had some conversations about this, that the reimbursement amount and approval does not come from technical services. It comes from the sales management and TAP management. So, kind of thinking ahead, if you guys are going to be submitting a claim, right when you submit the claim, you should be talking to your RM and the VP of sales and figuring out what you guys believe the shop should be receiving, if any, reimbursement.
However, I would say I've seen you do a pretty thorough analysis of the estimate on all claims. So you do influence that in terms of what are they asking for, what's legitimate, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. We're here for any sort of review of the claim or the estimate as well. What do we see as fair? Because I've looked at thousands of estimates. So, it's pretty easy to be able to pick up on, okay, well, you're sending us an estimate for, $5,000 and they're asking for the entire estimate, but I notice on there that they've replaced a quarter panel, right? So I'm going to go in there and say, okay, well, we're obviously not going to pay to replace the quarter panel again because they're just painting. Look at it and determine, okay, well, how much time is it really going to be to either strip down or sand down the panel and repaint it, and kind of go off of that for the customers.
So you're looking at it obviously at an itemized or detailed level, not just a flat amount.
Exactly. Next, we have quality control. So if we do look into the issue and find out that there is some sort of defect with the Transtar product, then it automatically will set in motion another ISO process, which is our corrective action request. And then we will actually start to investigate our processes internally to prevent this from happening again. And then we have the customer service, which they issue the reimbursement that we agree on to the supplying jobbers in the form of a goodwill credit to the shop. That is how all of our reimbursements will be issued to the shop.
And have been.
And have been, yes.
So moving on. Next issue is, okay, when do I as a TM or a tech rep submit a claim?
Yep, so this comes up quite a bit, came up in the regional meetings. It's when to submit a claim. Really, there are two main reasons. One, the customer is looking for reimbursement. Again, this is an ISO process. We do have to follow these steps in order to give a reimbursement. We're not just going to blindly give money out to the shops. We still want to investigate why this issue happened and prevent it from happening again. And then you have one where, the customers are looking for a reimbursement, but wants to know the cause of the problem. He can't figure it out. It's not something that's apparent. The TM or the tech rep, can't figure out exactly. They need to send some stuff into the lab and have us test some stuff. that's when you would actually fill out the claim form and send it in. Don't submit any shop claim forms for any sort of damaged can, jobber returns, underfilled containers, anything like that. That doesn't fall into this category. Um,
Yeah,
and
obviously not much that you're going to analyze if it's a damaged can or unfilled container, correct?
Exactly.
Not that it's not a problem that we want to address, but that's
Yeah.
not part of this ISO process.
Exactly. That falls under a different ISO process within customer service. Now, let's say you walk into a shop and they're running into some dieback issues, right? And they just want to know why it's happening. You could submit a claim for that, or you can just set it up to have a tech rep come out there and work with you for the day, bring their body shop assessment kit, and you could probably solve the issue that way, especially if the guy isn't looking for any reimbursement. So we're not looking for you to fill out this claim form for every single issue that you run into in the field, because it's going to be cumbersome for you. You're going to spend all your time filling out this form, and it's going to be cumbersome for me. I'm going to have all of these forms and all of this analysis that I'm going to have to do.
But Marcus, that brings up a point, maybe just to touch on it here. I don't have to get into too deeply. What about issues where there's a problem with the equipment, the environment, the process, maybe the manpower in the shop? It's a problem. Just giving them reimbursement obviously is not going to solve the problem, right?
Absolutely. Yep. We've ran into this in the past, where we have repeat offender shops. All right. And it's all the same issue that they're running into. Well, we are obviously not, spending the time in the shop to train the painter and the owner, on the shop equipment and proper equipment maintenance and proper processes, and doing the training with, anybody from the body side to the paint side. We're not actually solving the root cause. We're just throwing money at it. And that doesn't solve the issue either. And the shop then turns around and looks at us and says, okay, well, if I have a problem, then they're just going to pay for it if I run into a problem. So why would I need to change anything? I already have, my piggy bank over here named Transtar.
And I guess this even goes back to our sales process. One of it is sales qualification. Looking at, do they have the right equipment? Do they maintain the equipment? Are the processes in place where they're actually going to use our product correctly to begin with?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've received some shop complaints or shop claims for a guy that's repainting cars in his garage. Right? Well, we know that that's not the proper environment to be spraying out of. Right? And when you're doing that qualification, you should also know that.
So I think we kind of emphasize making sure that we submit the right claims for the right process.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let's delve into what the real point of this webinar is, the online claim system. So what are the benefits of it? Why are we going to this?
Yeah, so really the main one, visibility of the documentation submitted and the status of the claim to all parties. And we mean that by not only between, head office and the TMs and the tech reps in the field, but we also mean the jobbers and the shops that are involved in the claim as well.
People in this building, right?
Yeah.
Customer service sees what's going on, Mike Westrick, Matt Witzke, Jeremy, whoever, right?
Yeah, it's just opening up that visibility through the entire process so everybody knows, where their claim is at, how we're working on it, who's responsible for certain aspects of it. And as a byproduct of it, we're streamlining, automating the claims process. We're able to get information in and send information out at a faster rate.
I know you kind of touched on it, but just to back up for a second, improved communication. So I really see that as two sides of that. One is the ability to go into the online claim system and look at the status of your claims. The other is there's automated emails that are generated that are being sent out, even if you didn't look at the online claim system.
Yep.
You're going to get an email that's telling you here's where it's at. And customer will, both shop and jobber, correct?
Yep. At certain points, yeah, everybody will receive emails. And it helps to give that customer, kind of a feeling of, okay, they are, working on this claim. It's not just sitting out in dead air or dead space. Okay, I can see that, oh, okay, they've moved from this status to the next. Okay, we're getting closer to finding out what the root cause is.
And that last point, faster response to claim. Now, I'll go back. If we have a bad process in place, if we're not disciplined to use the tools, if we don't spend, this is not going to make it faster. But if you do those things correctly, I think the communication, it will be keeping what the open issues in front of us and thereby make it faster.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of the end part of that sentence is when proper documentation is provided. That's a big part of this. If you don't give me any information, then I don't have anything to base any sort of investigation off of.
And that part remains the same.
And that part remains the same no matter whether we're automated, doing paper, talking over the phone. The more information I have, the better and faster I'm able to actually find that root cause.
So moving on, I think now we're going to get to?
Yep, now we're going to do the live demo.
So I think this may take a minute just to log in. So this is a live link.
Yep, so just so, as this is loading up, with this link, and we'll send this out to you guys in a follow-up email. Once you click on this link, you don't have to worry about signing into anywhere. It automatically signs you in. You do need to be connected to Global Protect in order for this to work. And you will have to use Internet Explorer. Okay, so for right now, that is the platform that this was built off of. Once we release this live, we will be running changes to it. Dennis and Sunny have done a great job of structuring this program to where we can kind of run dual programs so we can test anything. So if you run into any issues or see any, you have any comments on how to make this better, we can implement them, test them, and then put it into the live version while we're going through this.
So I don't know if you guys can see this. I don't think off to the right, the menu, I'm going to move this over. So if you type in a question or a chat, we're not going to be able to see it for a minute here, just so that Marcus and I can see the full screen.
Can you collapse that?
I can. So I'm going to collapse this. So before we get started, Marcus, just to be clear, I see at the top my claims, and to the right of that, create a jobber complaint and create a shop complaint.
Yes. So the create a jobber complaint, we were thinking about putting in some of the jobber style complaints, again, like we said, with the crushed cans, things like that. But after we investigated it and looked into it, it wasn't really a benefit to anybody internally for this. It would actually make it a little bit more complicated. So that button will become deactivated and then will eventually disappear completely.
So do not worry about that one. We're going to focus on creating a shop complaint.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And again, this is for after it's already applied to the vehicle.
So I'm going to let Marcus drive here. And I just want to say before you get started, again, I think our IT department, Dennis Redding and Sonny, did an awesome job with this thing. Our hats have to go off to them for the work they've done. It's taken us a little bit of time. They fixed some of the original problems that have delayed the launch, but I think we're there. Yeah,
absolutely. And they've come up with some great ideas that we didn't think of that really help this become more intuitive and a lot more streamlined. So this is going to be what we'll call your dashboard. So as soon as you log in, as soon as you follow the link, this is what you're going to see. So I'll kind of just go to each area. Up here, the logo up here, the Transtar logo, that's kind of your home button. So if you're looking through anything over here, you can always click the Transtar and it'll bring you right back to this home screen.
Just like a website. Any website works the same way, right?
Exactly. So we are in My Claims, and so it's kind of self-explanatory. These are all the claims that you have that you've either submitted or are going through the process after you've submitted them. Like Steve mentioned, we have the create jobber complaint, create shop complaint. Again, this jobber will be disappearing. So the create shop complaint, that's what you will click in order to create the shop complaint. We have an all active claims, which will show all the active claims, and then you have a recently closed claims, which will show all of the closed claims.
So Marcus, we're logged in as me, and I don't have any claims. Is that why we're not seeing any claims here?
Exactly, yes. If I was logged in as myself, there would be a lot more claims inside of here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on this all active claims. All right, and a lot of this is a lot of the testing that we've done. So when we look, starting from the left, we have a claim number. This is automatically generated by the system. And then we have a title. You'll notice that some say claim and then the number that it's automatically assigned, and some have the name of the shop. Okay, I'll go into a little bit more detail once we start the shop complaint, but right now you have to manually enter the title, and if you don't, then it'll just automatically assign just a claim number to it. For my benefit and for your benefit, especially if you have to submit more than one, I would get in the habit of adding that title in. Again, we'll be making running changes, so you'll probably see that change to where that automatically fills out by the title of the shop.
So maybe detail, but what should that title look like? Descriptive to the shop, the vehicle, something?
The title, just the name of the shop. So you can see this one is Westside Auto, right? Because as we communicate too, that's kind of how we communicate, right? We have a complaint for Westside Auto. Okay, well then I can go into the all active claims or into my claims and say, okay, there's the Westside Auto claim, instead of looking through, okay, well, is it claim number 4? Is it claim number 5? Is it claim 17, 18, 19? So that'll give us better visibility. Then you have the assignee that will change as it runs through all of the steps. So right now, these ones I've created, so they're under my name. We had some by text, and Tim creates some kind of dummy complaints to test the system. Next to that, you have a status, so where it's at in the status. So if we look at the second one down, it says waiting for missing data. So haven't filled the form out completely, but I had to walk away, so I saved it, so it automatically assigns it that. Once you filled it out completely, then it automatically jumps to this next one, waiting for analysis and evaluation. After we complete that, if there is any reimbursement that will be provided, it will say waiting for release of liability. Then from there, once that's approved, then it'll go to waiting for meeting with end user. And then that kind of falls back on all the TMs and the techs if they are visiting the shop. You guys have to actually physically take the forms in because they do need signatures. After the waiting...
Can't automate that part of it?
No. Nope. I wish we could. It would be faster. So after the waiting for analysis and evaluation, waiting for meeting with end user, once you receive it back, then it'll move to waiting for the notice to customer service of credit. Customer service will go in there, issue the credit, and then move it to the next step. The notice to the jobber of credit will automatically be sent out to the jobber, and then it'll go to waiting for closed claims, and then we can go ahead and close out the claim inside of the system.
So Marcus, I'm sure a question on TM or RM mind when they look at this is I see some text is black, some is green, and some is blue. What does that mean? Is there some significance to that?
Yes. So when it is green, that is the current status that you're at. So if you notice on the waiting for missing data, everything past this to the right is still black, and the title and the claim number are green. It's because you still have to fill out the claim form. So it's saying, okay, you have to click on the title to take you back to the claim form. so that you can finish filling it out. And then you'll notice for the waiting for analysis and evaluation, these are now green. So we're waiting for that. If it's blue, that means that you've already done it, but you can still go back and look at that status. So I can still click on this Westside Auto, and it'll take me to the claim form for this claim. And then as it moves through, you can see on the waiting for meeting with end user, just the way the system works, it'll automatically go back to the claim analysis and evaluation after this. But you'll see that the release of liability is now blue. See if there's a better one. Okay, so number 25, the Magri's Auto Body. You'll notice that it's waiting for closed claim, and every one of the steps is blue. Okay.
Meaning they're all completed.
Correct. Yep. When you see blue, it means completed. When it's green, it's on that status.
So just out of curiosity, on that one, 25, I noticed the corrective action request is black. What does that mean?
That means that it wasn't a defect in Transtar product.
Okay,
so it didn't automatically generate that corrective action request.
So that's internal corrective action to Transtar as a manufacturer, not corrective action to the shop.
That is correct. Yes. So that is that car that we spoke about earlier. That is an internal ISO process.
Car meaning corrective action request, not car like a vehicle I drive.
That's correct. So this is going to be your dashboard. So now let's go ahead and create a shop complaint.
So before Marcus does that, I'm just going to ask if anybody has a question, and this may take just a minute. If you have a question so far on this part of this, maybe this is a good time. Just send it in the chat box, and I will look for a question mark here. And if you don't, we can take questions at the end. I can actually open the phone lines up, but if there's any deal breakers or stoppers here, if you want to ask, and I don't see any. I don't see anybody sending any in, so maybe what we'll do is we'll just keep going on, Marcus.
All right, okay. Sounds good. This means we're doing a pretty good job then.
If we do say so ourselves.
Yeah. So
now you're going to create a new claim from scratch.
Correct. Before we actually get into filling this information out, we will still provide the paper copy of the claim form, which this is just a duplication of it. So all of the fields are going to stay the same. That way you can take the paper copy in case you're not connected to the internet, for whatever reason, you can still fill out the paper copy and then go to this site and then put it in electronically.
So that kind of brings up a point. If I have a smartphone or a tablet, can I open this up and could I fill this out in the shop with a smartphone or a tablet?
No, you cannot. Tablets and smartphones use a different platform for all of the online stuff and the apps. It's more app driven, and it's just it won't work correctly on
so what about the TM Surface Pros?
On the Surface Pros, yes, that will work because the Surface Pro isn't really a tablet in and of itself because it does run off of Windows 10. So it has a Windows 10 operating system as opposed to, an iOS system or an Android platform.
So if I'm a TM or a tech rep, could I flip this around, take my stylus for my Surface Pro and just start to fill it out like that?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't mean to get us off track. But
no, that's a good point. So along the top, you'll notice that really no information is filled out. It's just got the assignee and the date that automatically fills itself out. There's no claim number up in the left-hand corner, obviously because we haven't submitted one, so it doesn't generate it yet. Here's that title area that I was telling you about. This is where you would add the title of the shop. Okay, so we'll just say this is going to be from Crystal Clean. Okay. again, that way when you're looking through your claims, when I'm looking through the claims, it's a lot easier to identify which one is which. Your status, you're not going to mess with. That automatically changes itself.
So just to be clear, when you put the title in, did that box not have a colored line around it? That meant I had to enter data, and the assignee is just a black line, right? Did I not see that before?
No, not up in the top there.
Okay.
So along the top, this stuff isn't necessarily required in order to submit a claim. And kind of what Steve is talking about is all of these red boxes around these links down here. So up here, there isn't anything that's necessarily required itself.
Okay.
The things that are required, like the name, you see the red asterisk, it automatically fills itself out because it's based off of the user that's actually submitting the claim. Over here, you see this attachment. This is where you can attach files, so photos, any estimates, you can attach right into here. As we move through the process and we send out, an analysis and evaluation and a release of liability, again, you'll find it in this section right here. So you'll get an email that says, hey, the status has changed from waiting for reimbursement approval to waiting for meeting with end user. Then you can go into your claims, go to the claim that you received the email from, so crystal clean, and then you'll see in this section right here would be the release of liability and the analysis and evaluation.
So what will that look like? Will that be a link? Will that be a PDF file? Will it be file name?
It'll be a link. So it'll link, and it'll actually, when you click on it, it'll open up another window. And if it is, a PDF, it'll open up another window. You can print it off. Very similar to if you try to look up our tech data sheets online. Once you click on that link, it opens up another window, and then you can print right from there. So then we'll move down into the actual form itself. You'll notice that along the top, we have all of these different sections, and if you have the actual claim form in front of you, you'll notice that these mimic those headers for each section that we're going through. And you'll notice that they're boxed in with red. That's telling you that there's missing information in either one of these sections that needs to be filled out. It will not allow you to submit a claim without having that information in there. Your submit button will stay gray until you have all the information in there.
So that brings up kind of a point here. This screen has obviously, and everybody's screen is obviously a little bit different, doesn't fit that whole claim form. I have to scroll down to the bottom to see some action I need to do with it.
Correct.
So if I start filling this out and I don't go down to the bottom and submit, I'm assuming I'm not going to save anything. I've lost it.
There is a way to save the claim. So down here next to submit, there is save draft. So
I guess I'm saying is you've got to either save it, submit it, or do something, or you're going to lose if I start to enter.
Correct. Yeah. So if you start to enter information and you don't click save draft, and then you come back up here and you click this home button, it will not save any information. You have to actually tell the program to save it itself. Okay. So then how do I know what needs to be filled out? You have these red asterisks right next to everything that needs to be filled out. So you have the body or the business name, shop complaint type.
So to be clear, it may be small on your screen. Next to each of those names on the left is a red asterisk. So it says business name, red asterisk, if you're not seeing it, correct?
Correct. Okay. Correct. And then you'll notice down here, detailed description of problem, that also has a red asterisk. So kind of going back to Steve's point, they have, if you have this up top that's red and you don't know why, you can, scroll down. Oh, okay, I noticed this detailed description of problem has a red asterisk. I need to fill this area out. So let's go ahead and start filling it out. So in your business name, the one on the left is going to be the collision shop. The one on the right is the jobber. You can...
Hey, Scott Pinkham pointed out too, I made a statement, I was misguided. You can't take your stylus and write a name in here, right? I can't, you're going to have to type in, what are you starting to type in, Crystal? I can't write that in with my stylus.
Correct. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't work like Notepad does or OneNote on the computer. I mean, you can use your stylus as a mouse, so you can click on the area. And if you don't have your keyboard connected, there's a keyboard that comes up in tablet mode. So yeah, you can't just write, the business name in there.
I was thinking about moving it through from section to section and check boxes, but you're right. There's data you have to enter text. So
yep, exactly. So you'll notice as soon as I started writing in Crystal, it automatically pulled up.
How did it do
everything that has Crystal in it? Well, our wonderful CRM Goldmine actually drives this information. So the collision, the shop name and the jobber name pulls from Goldmine. So once I choose this, it's going to give me the information. It's going to automatically fill out the information that is in Goldmine. So if there are pieces of this information that are missing, such as the email address, you cannot come in here and add it into this form. It will not allow you. If you notice that when I go from the left over top of any of these fields, it gives me the red circle with the line through it. I cannot select this. So you will actually have to go back into Goldmine and finish filling out the information for the shop or the jobber before it will get entered into this system.
Don't tell me that the jobber side works the same way.
It works exactly the same way.
Wow.
So type it in, automatically fills itself out. The shop complaint type, you'll come over here and just check a box. So, loss of adhesion. If there's anything that's not in this list, you can click other and then write out what the issue is. And then down here, you can give a detailed description of the problem, So, like vehicle was painted 3 months ago and was brought back after customer power washed the vehicle. The base coat and clear coat peeled off once hit with the pressurized water. All right, that's probably the least amount of detail I want you to have when you're filling this section out. More is always better. So once I have that information filled out, all of the required, you'll notice that in the customer information tab, it now does not have the red box around it. Now it's telling you, okay, that part is complete. And this is how I would fill it out too. I'd go through each section and fill out all the information that you've been able to gather. That way, once you get to the end, then you can go ahead and hit submit.
Did you have to save that draft? Would you recommend doing that periodically?
It depends on your connection, things like that. It is good practice to always save as you're moving along. Just like any Word document, Word actually automatically saves once it's created, but you want to save it periodically.
This is not, though, right?
No. This is not save periodically. You have to actually come down here and click the save draft. So let's just say hypothetically I had to walk away from my computer, so I'll click the save draft. So then it'll bring you back to your dashboard, and there it is. There's my claim that I need to submit. So again, it's waiting for the missing data, so I'll go ahead and click on the title to then bring me right back to the form itself. Now you will notice that there are some what I would call sticking points when trying to open up certain things. again, Sonny and Dennis, they've done a great job, and there's still more work to be done, and they're working on trying to really speed up the system so that you're not waiting for a very long time.
Now, while we're waiting, I'm going to open this up and see if we've received any questions. Good point. I see a question from Matt Carries. Why eliminate jobber form if there is a problem, bad toner or customer return? Matt, I think the reason why there is a process in place if there is a problem with the jobber, and the feeling internally was it's more expeditious, more streamlined than going through this.
Correct.
If you don't agree with that, I would suggest talking to Bill Raffini. Bill's the guy that manages all customer service claims, so if it's a jobber claim. Another question Matt had is, will you send dummy form already filled out as a sample? Will you?
No, because the form is already pretty self-explanatory. What is the business name? Here are the forms, or here are the fields. Put information in them.
And the other question he had was, can you pick more than one problem?
Yes, you can.
So you can check more than one box. So hopefully that answered your question. Oh, another one he had here is, what is...
That's a hotline thing.
Okay. I want to address that one. So hopefully that answered your questions, Matt. If it did not, I would give Marcus a call. I do not see any other questions in here.
All right.
Okay,
so
good.
We'll move on.
Okay. So we're going to go through a little bit more of this. I don't think we have to go through every step, do we? Every one of these red boxes?
We'll go through every one of the red boxes, but I'm just going to put in just, blank information, just so that we can kind of run through the process of this. So a couple other features in the make and model.
Pretty smart. If you start to type a name, it brings up the brand.
Exactly. And we did this because now I can't say that there's a Chevy Mustang. It will not accept anything that we have not already inputted. So once you input something that is valid for that make, it will show up. And I'm just going to run through and fill this out quickly. With the repair date, you can go back as far as you want in time and choose that as your repair date. Areas painted, you can select more than one right here. So if you did a front clip, then you can select more than one. With your substrate, you can only select one right now. Again, this will be a running change. You'll see this change that you will be able to select more than one in here because obviously if we're doing a bumper and a fender, then we have plastic and OEM finish or bare metal. And then down here you have a repair description. Again, be as detailed as possible about the repair description. I'm just going to put test in a lot of the sections that need text. In the general information, if you click yes, you will have to put a date in. You cannot post date something right now. We're working on that for certain things like will what samples be sent for evaluation and so that if you click yes and you're not sending it out that day, it's Friday, you're going to, post office is closed, you have to send it out on Monday. You can't choose that right now. Again, that will be changed. If you click no, then the date is grayed out and you do not have to fill it out. Products used in original repair. We have all the different categories of product. If you want to add a product in, you just click the add button. You also have an edit and a delete, so in case you put a product in a wrong area, you can go in there and delete it out or edit it. So once you click the plus button, once you start typing in a Transtar part number, it will actually look for that number, and then it'll automatically fill out your part description and brand name.
Nice. That's very nice.
Yep. And then you can add in the batch number if they still have it. If they do not have the batch number, you don't have to put it in there. Now, once you have that filled out, you have to click the update button, this little floppy disk right here. If you don't and you go to the next section, you will lose this information. So you go ahead and click save.
So one thing that's not on there is you have to remember to add the activator, right?
Correct.
Did they have an activator? I would assume they didn't use an activator if that wasn't on.
Exactly, which is pretty, crucial, especially for clear coats. I want to know what speed activator they used. For color systems, just as a note, I've been asked this a couple times. Can we put in HS, MS, or SS into our system so it automatically recognizes it? We can't because of the program that actually drives this information. So when you're filling it out, just remember that. So you would have to type in HS, your part description, it would be no mix base coat. Brand name obviously is Transtar.
Marcus, would you want to see a formula or paint code in there?
That will already have been put in from the vehicle information.
Paint code there, but I guess formula here. Would you want to see that here if it was available?
Yeah, if you want to put in the actual formula number that you've mixed up, you can put it right into the batch number. So then you can go ahead and save this once you have that information. So now what about other branded products? You can enter them in, okay? Just however you, without having to work off of a drop-down menu. So I can come in here and say, let's say it's EnviroBase, it is a base coat by PPG. And I can go ahead and save that. Again, same thing with your clear coats or any other products. Try to have the part numbers in there for the other branded products. So for like clear coat, if you got PPG's 2021 clear coat, please put in 2021 in the part number, part description, and brand name. Once you have all your products in there, you can move over to facility and environment information. We have some check boxes up here. You have your booth type, booth air movement. We did not make the CFM and the test method required because not everybody has the testing equipment to be able to fill that out. We know that. But the spray temp is required. You will notice that some of them are like 80.1, 84.9. Because it automatically adds in the Celsius as well. So it just rounds up or down. So say it's 70, and then humidity, let's say it was 25%. Your compressor, your tank size, this can only take numerical values. So we'll say it's 120 gallons. The motor size was 11 horsepower. Your air filtration, you can put in your brand. Now, if they don't have an air filtration system, then you can put in NA. With your mixing surface preparation and application, all of these fields are not live yet until you click yes. So we'll go to color systems. From there, you will choose what grit sandpaper they used. If they did a wet on wet system, you can choose NA. Then you have to choose wet or dry. And this area, if you look up top, is a pre-coating sanding operation. So this is before that coating was applied. Then you have your coding. It was HS. We didn't add activator to it this time, so it's 1 to 1.5. And we had 3 coats with 5-minute flash time in between, and we did not bake it. Okay, and then you do that for each one of these, and then you have your surface preparation notes as well. Color sand and buff. You put in your goods of paper. Again, if they didn't color sand and buff, we do have the NAs to show that they didn't do that process. And then your spray equipment, you have your make, model, and needle nozzle size. Then you have other information. This is just notes, any other pertinent information that you believe that we should know about. So now that all of this is now gone from red to gray, now we can come down here. We notice that our submit button is.
What about notes? Anything you want to comment on that?
Notes, yeah, notes. There is a you click on this and there's some extra comment area if you want. If you run out of room within this box.
So a lot of information, but all critical if you're going to do a thorough root cause analysis.
Absolutely. So we'll go ahead and click submit, and then this will bring us back to here, and then now we notice that it's waiting for the analysis and evaluation.
And since I created this claim, now I see my claims, which I already have one in here.
Yep, exactly. So once everything is sent into us, then as we run through, there will be some various emails that are sent out to either the shop and the jobber, yourself, internally as well.
Are there any questions? Anybody want to jot it? Before I close this out, I guess if anybody had a question, we could go back. Just jot them in the chat, and I will try to answer them. And if there are none in a second, then we'll wrap up with a couple of closing comments.
Well, let's.
Yeah, we want to. Yeah.
So we're going to show you just some of the emails that will be going out.
Minimize this. So I'm going to open up my Outlook folder, and Marcus has sent me a couple emails. So
go to the one right above that.
So here I received, because this was my claim, assume for a second here, I received this claim, and I got this notice that says, what does this say, Marcus?
This is going
This all come from claim system, right?
Correct, yeah. So it'll come from, the center will be claim system. This message right here is just, this will go to yourself and to the shop. This is what the shop will see. This is stating that we received the complaint. This is when we received it on. This is what we're waiting on. So we're waiting on the paint chips for evaluation. And then we have the information for the shop. If it's incorrect, then they can call us or contact us via email.
So just to be clear, Marcus and I developed some kind of form emails. They're trying to give relevant information on the status, but it's pulling some data from the claim form that's been entered. So, for example, in this case, it pulled the name, Crystal Clean, it pulled the address, etc. Correct?
Correct.
So you're going to see all these. I think they do a nice job. They're kind of short and sweet. You just have to know what they are, though, right? Where they're coming from.
Yep. So then this next one, this is what the status change emails will look like. It'll just say this email is being sent to acknowledge this change of status on claim, whatever the claim is, from waiting for analysis and evaluation to waiting for reimbursement approval. It could be from waiting for reimbursement approval to waiting for meeting with end user, waiting for closed claim, so this is just a status change email that goes out.
So again, even though I didn't go online to look at the status of my claim, I get this email. It's telling me this is what's happened, correct?
Exactly. Again, kind of opening up that visibility.
And Marcus has set this up where he's identified for each email at any point who should receive it. So some like customer service. Most of them, they don't need to see it until the point where reimbursement has to be issued, correct?
Exactly.
Some of the times the shop may get an email if the email address is in here. Sometimes the jobber may get a change, correct?
Exactly. Which, speaking of jobber, go ahead and click on this one. This is the email that the jobber will receive. This is just stating that we recently approved a credit for our mutual customer, in this case Crystal Clean, telling them that our policy is in a reimbursement made in the form of a credit to pass on to the shop, and then it tells them, please issue a credit to Crystal Clean in the amount of $1,000. Just so that the jobber knows, because the shop should already know, because they would have signed the release of liability, knowing how much they're going to receive.
And I don't think you have it on here, but the next one would actually be going to customer service, say issue a credit to XYZ jobber on behalf of Crystal Clean. Right?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
this particular jobber email actually gets issued after customer service has issued the credit.
So again, I think this is a really nice part of the form and the process. So
Absolutely.
So I'm going to look back. I do not see any other questions in our, everybody wants to go to lunch apparently, which I don't blame you.
Yep. So we'll
Okay,
go
so
ahead.
wrap up with just a couple final slides here on takeaways.
Yep. So on the process, the online claim system pulls data from the gold mine. So make sure that all your customer information is up to date, names, phone numbers, emails, etc. Reimbursement is only made in the form of a goodwill credit to the supplying jobber. And the amount is to be determined by sales and approved by management. Okay. Again, tech service will help to, give advice on how much we think, but we do not make the approval. After the online claim system is live, tech service will no longer accept paper copies. So once we end this webinar, the system will be live, and after today, we will no longer accept any paper copy.
So if you're on this webinar, you've got a heads up of what's coming. If you didn't make the webinar, you're at a bit of a disadvantage. Exactly. Don't send it in. You're going to have to redo it.
Because I will send it back to you.
Okay, other takeaways. Yep.
So a couple of notes. Only use Internet Explorer. Be sure that you're connected to Global Protect. Attach all photos and estimates to the claim within the system. Fill out all the sections of the form with detailed information. If information is not available, enter NA. Be sure to add the name of the shop to the title of the claim. I'm actually going to backtrack to the information is not available, enter NA. There are a couple of fields that only receive or can only take numeric values. So if you go to type NA and it's not accepting it, put a 0 in there. When adding other branded product, include part numbers and product names. Attach supporting documents such as TDSs and SCSs required, especially SCSs, because they are required if you send us any wet samples. So this is not just for the claims. This also kind of goes back to any samples that you want us to test. You have to send us that information because if not, we cannot actually legally keep that in our facility.
So you're saying for us to receive a wet sample, we must have the tech data sheet and the SDS sheet.
Exactly. For paint chips, I don't need that information. Some fields only accept numerical values and some only alphabetical. If there are any issues with the system, document the error and contact myself. Take a screenshot of the error that you ran into. Document what process you were doing that caused the error.
So Marcus, I just added a couple little questions that might be on TM's mind. Maybe you could just quickly. I'm a TM. How do I get into the online claim system?
We will send out a link and you just click on the link.
Okay. Do I need some kind of login, password, username?
Nope. It'll automatically do that as soon as you click the link.
We talked about this, but what am I going to see?
You're going to see your claims.
Only my claims, right?
Yep.
If I don't have any claims submitted, I won't see anything in there.
Exactly.
What if I have a problem?
Then you contact myself or you can contact Dennis Reddy's.
And when are we going to go live again?
Right after we end this webinar.
Great. So any closing questions, comments? I will leave a if you type it into the chat section of the question section there, we will try to answer it now. I do not see anything coming in. I am going to stop the recording now, so we appreciate you guys joining the webinar today, and I hope